Morning guys, thanks for checking out the video. So today I'm going to be talking about my assessment I had yesterday. I had like a strength and conditioning, mobility, flexibility assessment with the guys at RMA, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I did, how it went, how I think it's going to help me, and how it's something that might help you going forward. So let's take a look. So we started off yesterday's assessment with some flexibility work. I'll throw some videos or some pictures of it up there so you can see what we went through, but yeah, they were telling me what to do and I was just doing as I was told. So flexibility was okay, I thought. It wasn't too bad. It was something I was a little bit worried about, especially in my hamstrings. Hip flexors are an area that I suffer with tightness, especially after getting off the bike and the amount of running and sort of in that cycling position. But ankle flexibility, things like that, shoulder flexibility was okay. There's definitely work to do, but it was a decent starting point. So my hip flexors especially, I feel that are tight, and I think that then, or that can stem from having tight back, and hip flexors can affect the back, and it's all linked around the hips, pelvis. A lot of runners and cyclists, that's probably one of the areas where you're mainly tight. Yeah, big thanks to the guys at RMA. I'll put some links in the description below from their website, and they got some videos on YouTube as well for you to check out, and follow them on Instagram, Facebook, etc. But really good, they're really easy to work with, and I'm really lucky to have them helping me out this year. And then we did some strength work, some single leg seated squats, some bridges and stuff like that. Usual kind of stuff that we all tend to do, some side planks and etc, etc. The biggest problem I find that I don't find the exercise itself that difficult. I find my balance is poor. I would have said it was below average. When you do I do a lot of drills when we coaching with the tri club with the kids and the juniors. Lots of balancing drills, and when you're doing them weekly or a few times a week or even monthly, you definitely improve really quickly and your balance becomes much better and stability and stuff like that. But I've been on and off with it, not as much as I should have been, and it could tell. So yesterday, sitting up, standing up out of the chair, there's no problem in doing it muscle wise, it feels fine, but my stability and balance, and I'm actually trying to push up to that leg, is poor. So obviously, when we run, having that, because it's just a series of one leg tops basically running, isn't it? So having that poor stability, if your knee and your leg's not as stable as it could be, you're going to waste a little bit of energy. Or keeping that leg stable on landing, and then when you're pushing off and you're driving through and you're landing again. So even though it's such a small, we don't think of that much, and we go, oh, I can't balance on one leg. It shows a lack of stability, which is not good. So that's something hopefully they're going to sort me out as well, which is cool. And just the range of motion through the hips. So if you're running, again, we're driving off the ground, we're driving through, and if we've got a decreased or a poor range of motion, then possibly we're restricting the ability of our running efficiency. I don't know if that's the right word for it, or economy. So for instance, when I ran a 10k, so if I had a little bit, perhaps increase my mobility through the hip region, was a bit looser and I could drive a bit further forward. So increasing my stride length by 5 centimeters over a 10k. If I was running my last 10k, I ran average of, I think it was 188 steps a minute. So we know that speed is to stride rate and stride length. So if I could increase my stride length by 5 centimeters, so that's 2 inches, tiny, not much at all. We're talking distance between my eyes there, small. Then over 10k, 5 centimeters per stride, and you keep the same stride rate, it's a minute. So even though it's such a small distance per step, the amount of steps you take in a race, etc., and you're doing 190, almost 190 steps a minute, that really adds up over half an hour, 33, 34 minutes. It's huge. There can be some huge gains by not necessarily going out there and getting fitter and pounding more miles and more speed, but actually refining what you've got. It's a bit like having a wreck of a car that the tyres are flat and there's no oil in it, there's no water in the radiator, but you upgrade the engine to a 600 brake horsepower or whatever, the car's still going to be a bit of a dog. And it's the same with your body to an extent. It's alright going out and becoming much fitter, but if you don't move efficiently, I don't think I move poorly, but I could move better, then so that's going to really help. And on the bike as well, things like having a more range of motion in the shoulders, etc., that's going to make holding position easier. The hip flexors not getting as tight is going to allow me to run faster when I get off the bike. So there's a whole basket full of reasons why it's good. Trying to stay injury free, trying to improve my form, efficiency, economy, technique, get stronger. Obviously cycling and running, but for cycling, strength is quite an easy one. You build more strength, you can push more watts, push more power, you go faster. With the running, the more force production you can generate off the ground to propel yourself forward, the further you go, and it's you need the motion, range of motion, etc. So really looking forward to getting the plan and going ahead. So we're going to just work on the basics to start with, so balance and mobility before we add any kind of strength work, because doing some strength work with a poor range of motion, especially poor balance, poor technique, is not a good idea. Just a little overview, and I'll do a follow-up to this hopefully in like a month, 5-6 weeks, and see how it's progressed or how much better I've got doing those exercises, etc. So should be good. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then you can subscribe and like or comment. Do you do strength and flexibility, mobility work yourself? Something you don't do, something you should do more of? Let me know in the comments below. Right, ciao. How do you finish?
Like that.
No, that's not working. Bosh.